structure of shipping services of master and crew, etc. We all know the main advantage of water transportation is the capacity to move extremely large shipments. In this lesson, we will study captain or master and modern ship's complement. A ship's captain commands and manages all ship's personnel, and typically in charge of ship's accounting, payrolls, and inventories. The captain is responsible for compliance with immigration and customs regulation, maintaining the ship's certificates and documentation, compliance with the vessel's security plan as mandated by the International Maritime Organization. The captain is responsible for responding to and reporting in case of accidents and incidents, and in case of injuries and illness among the ship's crew and passengers. A ship's captain must have a master mariner's license issued by the ship's flagged state. A person holding an unrestricted master's license is called a master mariner and may use the post-nominal title MM. The term unrestricted indicates that there is no restriction of size, power, or geographic location on the license. It is the highest level of professional qualification amongst mariners, in other terms, amongst sea people in the trade and civil sea world. The captain ensures that the ship complies with local and international laws as well as company policies. The captain is ultimately responsible for aspects of operation such as the safe navigation of the ship, its cleanliness and seaworthiness, safe handling of all cargo, management of all personnel, inventory of ship's cash and stores, and maintaining the ship's certificates and documentation. One of a shipmaster's particularly important duties is to ensure compliance with the vessel's security plan as required by the International Maritime Organization. The captain has special responsibilities when the ship or their cargoes are damaged, when the ship causes damage to other vessels or facilities, and in the case of injury or death of a crew member or passenger. The captain or master is the ship's highest responsible officer acting on behalf of the ship's owner. Whether the captain is a member of the deck department or not is a matter of some controversy, and generally depends on the opinion of an individual captain. The chief officer, often called the chief mate in the United States, is the head of the deck department on a merchant vessel, second in command after the ship's master. The chief mate's primary responsibilities are the vessel's cargo operations, its stability, and supervising the deck crew. The second officer or second mate of a merchant vessel is usually in charge of navigation and is the next licensed position above third officer and below chief officer. The second mate typically stands the 12 to 4 navigation watch. The third officer or third mate is the third officer of a merchant vessel. The most junior officer of the ship, the third mate, is usually the safety officer, responsible for firefighting equipment, lifeboats, and emergency systems, and is in charge of a bridge or cargo watch. Not all vessels have a third mate. In this case, his duties will be performed by the second mate. A deck cadet or apprentice is a nautical school graduate entitled to a seaman's book, but is not an officer proper. A boatswain, often at least since 1868 phonetically spelled and pronounced bosun, is in charge of an unlicensed deck crew and is sometimes also third or fourth mate. Ship's carpenters, though once ubiquitous, are now rare. They are, however, frequently found aboard passenger liners. Ship's carpenters are sometimes referred to by the nickname chips. In the modern merchant marine, an able seaman, AB, is a member of the deck department and must possess a merchant mariner's document. In the United States, merchant marine, an ordinary seaman or OS is an entry-level position in a ship's deck department. The OS may rig and operate hydrographic and other specialty winches, handle and stow oceanographic explosives, and stage and stow beach support equipment. The chief engineer on a merchant vessel is the official title of someone qualified to oversee the engine department. The qualification for this position is colloquially called a chief's ticket. The chief engineer, commonly referred to as the chief or just chief, is responsible for all operations and maintenance that have to do with all engineering equipment throughout the ship. The second engineer or first assistant engineer is the officer responsible for supervising the daily maintenance and operation of the engine department. He or she reports directly to the chief engineer. The third engineer or second assistant engineer is junior to the second engineer or first assistant engineer in the engine department and is usually in charge of boilers, fuel, auxiliary engines, condensate and feed systems. The fourth engineer or third assistant engineer is junior to the second assistant engineer or third engineer in the engine department. The cadet must first carry out 1 year training on board ships, executing tasks of an officer of the watch under the supervision of senior officers. An engineering cadet or apprentice is a nautical school graduate entitled to a seaman's book but not an officer proper. A qualified member of the engineering department (QMED) is a senior unlicensed crew member in the engine room of a ship. Pump man is a position frequently found aboard fuel tankers. An oiler is one of the most junior crew members in the engine room of a ship, senior only to a viper. An oiler's role consists mainly of keeping the machinery lubricated. A viper is the most junior crew member in the engine room of a ship. Their role consists of wiping down machinery and generally keeping it clean. Most merchant ships does not have this department. They only have a cook and he is part of the deck department. The chief steward is the senior unlicensed crew member working in the steward's department of a ship. The chief steward directs, instructs and assigns personnel performing such functions as preparing and serving meals, cleaning and maintaining officers' quarters and steward department areas, and receiving, issuing and inventorying stores. The chief steward also plans menus, compiles supply, overtime and cost control records. The steward may requisition or purchase stores and equipment. The chief cook is a senior unlicensed crew member working in the steward's department of a ship. The chief cook directs and participates in the preparation and serving of meals, determines timing and sequence of operations required to meet serving times, inspects galley and equipment for cleanliness and proper storage and preparation of food. A steward's assistant or SA is an entry-level crew member in the steward's department of a ship. This position can also be referred to as a gallery utility man or mess man. The role of the SA consists mainly of cleaning and assisting with the preparation and serving of meals. Now let us check if we have understood the various concepts discussed in this lesson clearly. The captain is ultimately responsible for all aspects of all operations of a ship. Right or wrong? Right. When the ship causes damage to other vessels or facilities, and in the case of injury or death of a crew member or passenger, the responsibility is of the master. Right or wrong? Right. The most junior officer of the ship is the chief's officer. Right or wrong? Wrong. Before we end, let us briefly revise what we have studied till so far. The captain or master of a merchant vessel, always called and addressed only with the word captain, is a licensed mariner in ultimate command of the vessel. A ship's captain, also called shipmaster, is responsible for its safe and efficient operation, including cargo operation, navigation, crew management, and ensuring that the vessel complies with local and international laws as well as company and flag state policies. The chief mate's primary responsibilities are the vessel's cargo operation, its stability, and supervising the deck crew. The mate is responsible for the safety and security of the ship, as well as the welfare of the crew on board. Third mate is usually the safety officer, responsible for firefighting equipment, lifeboats, emergency systems, and is in charge of a bridge or cargo watch.